This is a production of PBS Charlotte.
This week on Off the Record, safer classrooms, better paid teachers, but higher taxes. We'll unpack the new Charlotte-Mecklenburg school budget proposal coming up. Plus, is $2.5 billion too much to pay for the Panthers? Who's in, who's out in the bidding to buy the team? Also, Charlotte police have the help wanted sign out for more new officers, so why aren't more people filling out applications? And the mayor wants a $50 million fix for Charlotte's affordable housing problem. Off the Record is next on PBS Charlotte. Hi, I'm Jeff Sonnier. This is Off the Record, where we talk about the stories you've been talking about this week. And if you watch the news, read the news, or listen to the news, you'll recognize the names and faces around our table this week. Katie Peralta from the Charlotte Observer and Mark Becker from WSOC-TV. Thanks for joining us. Also, Nick Oxner from WBTV and Jonathan Lowe from Spectrum News. Also, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching at home this week. And let's talk first about the new CMS budget. A lot of talk this week about the new Superintendent Clayton Wilcox's request for $40 million additional dollars from, I guess, what he got last year. But while this is always a big story in the Charlotte area because of the push and pull politically over school funding, the whole issue of school safety has kind of added another dynamic to the discussion. Jonathan, you were at the meeting on Wednesday when Dr. Wilcox unveiled his plans for both the budget and for school safety. Tell us a little bit about what happened.
So school safety and I think making sure schools are clean, were the two headlines. It's a $1.5 billion budget. 14 million of that would go to school safety. And though we heard last week prior to this budget coming out, the police chief say that he would like to put metal detectors at every school.
Right.
That was not included in this budget in any way, shape, or form. It was more so fencing, building up windows and doors, also hiring more psychologists, counselors, to help with the mental aspect of all of this. That's 14 million, but there was another about $2.5 million that was going to go to hiring a total of 57 custodians. If you remember, one of the first things, because this is Dr. Wilcox's first budget as superintendent, he started back in June. One of the first things he had to deal with was the mold issue over at Providence High School. And if you remember, that was pretty extensive. They had to bring in people to take out tiles and make sure that the breathing was fine inside the school. And so I remember when that happened, he walked through Providence High School himself and noticed a lot of cleanliness issues. So I think that's why we see such a huge shift to hiring so many custodians. The other thing that was in there was he is talking about a raise for both administrators and teachers that's worth about $11 million.
Right. I thought the safety issue was interesting in kind of the two-pronged approach he took, not just hardening the schools, if you will, but also working from within the schools with counselors and that, maybe to prevent in-school violence as opposed to the out-of-school violence that also they have to kind of protect themselves from. So
the only thing, though, that we saw come out 24 hours after he puts his budget out, county commissioners then begin to have their opinions. And we've heard this before. We heard it last year, especially from Jim Puckett and Commissioner James, that they can ask, CMS can ask for all this money. They can ask for 40 million more, but they don't have to account for, which was odd to me, they don't have to account for where that money goes.
Once they get the cash, they can spend it any way they want, despite the budget proposal asking for cash for specific reasons.
Right. And we're in that wonderful time of year when everybody's asking for the moon, right? And we understand at the end of the day it's a negotiation. I mean, this Vi Lyles, if we get to the affordable housing, she's asking for a lot. So everybody's sort of formulating their wish lists for budgets. And as it goes to schools, you get back to security. If there's ever a blank check, after what happened in Florida and what's happened elsewhere, I think you can write it in the security area. So I would be astounded if there isn't some significant spending on security. What form that takes, the chief was talking about the metal detectors and so forth. That's not in the budget. That's huge, right? That it's not there. But what form it takes, I think, will be interesting.
And I think if you're trying to sell it on, I want to build more fences and hire a few more guidance counselors, that's a lot different than what, we want to bring metal detectors, we want to hire more security officers, we want to do this and that. And I think getting $40 million budget increase off those talking points that Jonathan outlined I don't see commissioners going for that. It's hard to get commissioners to go for that at all.
Right. So Jim Puckett was one of the first that came out yesterday and said, on Thursday and said, I want to see those metal detectors in there. Why wasn't that in there? So, this is going to be a long process. Their workshop, I think, is coming up on the 17th, and that's when commissioners and the school board will meet, and it's always very entertaining.
Two other quick things. On the safety issue, I thought it was interesting that what the superintendent's proposing isn't for every school. He said selected schools will get these upgrades. And can't you see the next argument, if the money's approved, on the schools who get the hardened doors and the and windows versus the schools that don't? Again, it gets back to that argument that discussion we had a couple weeks ago about how safe is safe enough, and how safe are my kids versus the kids at the school down the street or across town. That to me is just another debate that's just waiting to happen in this
I
case.
think the answer to that is it's a process, and I would be again the school board, I think, would feel the pressure. They have to do something, and as much as the county commission has got the purse strings, they're going to have to do something, and the question will be what
and how.
My other big question, if I'm a county commissioner, though, is there not a couple extra $1 million in that big bond package you just got?
They brought that up. They brought that up. And commissioners, another question they asked yesterday was, well, why can't you use the bond money you just got last year to take care of some of the school security issues? So
The other item I wanted to bring up quickly is recommending a school teacher increase is probably going to buy him some good graces from a lot of folks in town who would accept a lot of the budget items as long as there's a teacher
I'll
pay
add to
increase
that,
in
the
there.
school board is asking for an increase
Yeah,
as
I was
well.
going to say they're asking as well
Yeah.
to be commensurate with, or at least
For
they
them.
pointed to county commissioners
right.
and say, y'all make this much. And I found it interesting that George Dunlap said you can't really compare the two. He's done both. George Dunlap, after being a
That's
police officer,
Right.
became a school board
Member.
and
then a county
and now a
commissioner.
county commissioner, and he's now basically saying, wait,
He's multitasking.
Don't compare the school board's responsibilities with the county commissioner.
And that's what
Interesting dynamic.
The chairwoman, she said that before Superintendent Wilcox even got to his budget proposal, she basically laid out that the demands of our job have increased. The county commissioners make this, we make this, and we should be more in line and on par with what county commissioners are making. So.
Well, while the county and the school board argue over $40 million increases in the school budget, NFL owners are talking billions with a B when it comes to buying the Panthers. Katie, you wrote about the impending sale of the Panthers and the bidders who are still in and still out. The New York Times wrote about it too, but I guess great papers don't always agree, do they?
That's right. So as far as we know at this particular point, there are still four serious bidders. Hedge fund manager David Tepper, Ben Navarro, who is the CEO of Sherman Financial in Charleston, and Alan Kastenbaum, who is the CEO of a Canadian steel company. He's not Canadian. I want to clear that up because there's been a lot of misinformation about that one too. And there's a fourth yet to be named bidder out there. So we're keeping our eye on that, but that's what sources are telling me. I've heard mixed things about a fifth guy named Michael Rubin. He's the founder of Fanatics, which is the online e-retailer that the NFL partners with to put out championship T-shirts and things like that. Hugely successful company, and he's they're all billionaires. So at this point, we're in the final weeks of this thing. We should know who the winner is within the next probably week or two. So the issue at the Times was that they reported that David Tepper had dropped out.
Right. There were only two bidders left, according to the Times.
And that was our headline. So Tepper called my cell phone on Monday afternoon, and he said, "This is the first that I'm hearing that I dropped out of this process." So just wanted to clear up a few a few rumors that are going around. I guess the Times hadn't talked to him, so he just wanted to set the record straight on that. It's a very, I hate this term, but it's a very fluid process. It's a bidding process. So, there might be a higher bid one day, and then, the next billionaire might increase his bid by $50 million the next day. So, Tepper was basically like, I might drop out tomorrow, I might not. But at this point, he's still in it. So
First of all, let me know for the record, I'm impressed that billionaires call you your cell phones.
Right.
Yeah, what's that like?
Right.
I was in a state of shock.
Katie, I'm a bit on the outside here, and so I'm glad you're here to sort of give us the inside scoop. But how much of it is, at the end of the day, about the highest bid? Isn't it up to Jerry Richardson to essentially say, I'm going to sell to Jeff Sonier, and whether or not
Not
he's
a
the
billionaire.
highest bidder?
Yes, definitely not a billionaire.
And essentially to get another member of what is a very elite club, the NFL owners, that other owners will like, and who Jerry Richardson may like.
Exactly. It's the most elite boys club maybe in the world.
It is still a boys
Richardson-
club, right?
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
very
yeah.
much so, yeah.
Richardson is very tight with a lot of the owners. He has, been in this league for decades, including as a player. And at the end of the day, it is his call. You're right. So, it will be flattering for him if the price comes out at 2.5, which is, 200 million more than what the Forbes estimate was of the team last year.
And it's $1 billion more than the Bills sold for just 3 or 4 years ago, which was a record at that time. $1 billion more than the last sale of an NFL team. So
Jeff, by the way, full disclosure, a big Bills
big
fan.
Bills fan. Sorry.
But 300 to 500 million less than what they initially thought the team might go for, right? I mean, they were predicting between like 2.8 and 3 at the start of this process.
Well, I had heard 2.5 to 2.8.
Yeah, but I mean, so when you're down at the 2.5 level, it's just interesting to me that they looks like that someone thought that they were going to get a little bit more for the sale than what I think is going to sell.
Right, and I think that a lot of the rumors that you hear and a lot of the people that you hear talking out, people come to us with stories for a reason. You always have to say, why are you calling me? Because, it's kind of a dirty game. They're trying to make the price look higher than it is sometimes. You have to remember there are teams that will come up for sale in the next probably 2 to 5 years.
Yeah.
New Orleans owner just died. That team might come up for sale, Broncos. So it's not like you're losing your only opportunity to buy a team if you miss out on this one.
But we are setting the bar here for what the next sale for the next franchise
Yeah, I'm
will
sure
be.
the other 31
Yeah.
owners are really interested to see.
They're
what-
checking the comps.
And my sense is,
Exactly.
as we get closer to the end, we might get closer to that 2.7 or 2.8 billion anyway, because as the bidders jockey for position and maybe put their final and best bid out there, we may still get to that original estimated cost or price for this franchise.
I would be surprised if it went over 2.6, honestly, because there are a couple of things going on. We do know that it's important for Richardson, that the new owner at least make an attempt or say that they're going to keep the team in Charlotte, which, by the way, I have no doubt that they will. But at least do so in the current stadium for X number of years. That said, it is one of the oldest stadiums in the NFL. They're due for an upgrade probably within the next decade. But the price of stadiums is going up too. So you can't pick a guy who's rubbing together nickels to make this thing work,
And I was going to ask,
That leaves me
Steph
out.
Curry, he's a local guy. I was really one of the folks rooting for him to get it, and it just kind of faded from the
It's all about the money.
Yeah, well, the more significant
Spotlight on
name that
this.
faded this week, I think, was Felix Sabatis, who was in
That
from the
too.
beginning and has at least the partners or the wherewithal to potentially lead a credible bid. He's out because of the cost, I suppose. Is there a chance we'll see him align himself with maybe one of the other bidders to give that particular bid a more local flavor?
Absolutely. When a bidder says that they've dropped out, or when his name kind of fades out of the conversation, there's no contract that they say that I'm out of this thing. It's more like they're kind of watching from the sidelines sometimes to see what happens. Curry, honestly, in my opinion, would have been a very that move would have made sense. It's a local tether. It's a big name. There's no African American ownership in the NFL at all, so
his
that would have
dad
been.
is loved here.
His dad is beloved here.
Is there a chance that he could still be attached to one of these other bidders that we just don't know about? Right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. That said, he's not a billionaire, so maybe
Yeah.
he chips in $100 million. which
I would
is
think
still-
any bidder would like to have local faces and recognizable names to the community, so to tie them to the community. I mean, if you're a Canadian mining magnate or a .com guy from the West Coast, having someone that says Charlotte just by looking at him is a helpful thing to you, I suppose.
It's good for overall reputation. It's good for goodwill with the community, but it's also good from a business standpoint. You can work those relationships with
Right.
corporate partners. You can get to know people in the community. if you have local partners. So it makes a lot of sense, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some of the current minority owners kind of stay on with the team.
Last quick question. Any sense of what City Hall's reaction is, watching from afar, knowing that whoever gets this team is going to be the person they're negotiating with over anything from stadium improvements to a new stadium to, the tax dollars that might also be involved in any sort of transition to the new ownership?
Yes, and we've seen local leaders come out in front of this, even unprovoked. They'll say, we'll do whatever it takes to keep the Panthers in Charlotte. Cooper said that, I think, in December. Lyles has said it. The Charlotte Chamber has put out a statement. So it's unsurprising in Charlotte, with the exception of MLS, to see city government fork over taxpayer money to keep professional sports franchises in Charlotte. That said, it's a really controversial thing too. Right. We're pretty much willing to do whatever it takes for sports, but at the same time, they can't pony over what it takes to build enough affordable housing in the city. So,
but I thought it was interesting on the MLS decision that one of the reasons they said we're not going to put up money for this is because we need to keep all of our purse for a football stadium and a football team, which I think is just is an action that speaks a lot louder than we want to do anything. That's really, no, guys, we're going to save all our cash for you.
There's a pecking order when it
Yeah.
comes to professional sports franchises, and the Panthers are at the absolute top of that order. By the way, the one investor, Ben Navarro from Charleston, he is he made his billions in credit cards. I wonder if he'll actually use a credit card if he buys the team.
Or they'll have ATMs in the stadium.
oh yeah, exactly, like his own ATMs.
Put in your zip code and make sure that clears before we give you the keys to the car. So.
You definitely want to make sure an owner clears before you hand over the keys.
Let's talk a little bit about the police department now. It seems like every week Police Chief Keir Putney is in the news. This week he's in the news for talking with the City Council committee about the difficulties that the police department is apparently having right now recruiting new police officers. He says that numbers are down by roughly 20% over the last 2 years from what they used to be when it comes to people actually filling out the applications. They've got more than 100, close to 200 vacancies right now. Let's talk a little bit about the police chief's difficulties and what's behind those. Is it pay, as he's seemed to have suggested, that we need more officer pay?
It's been a tough sell to get people to be police officers over the last 3 or 4 years, not just here, around the country. Just take a look at what's happened. The scrutiny that goes with that job, rightly so, but it's a lot. I mean, put a body cam on yourself and walk around all day. Okay, now that's a lot of responsibility, and at the same time, it's dangerous. These folks put their lives on the line. It's not overstating that to say that. And then there's the money, right? So when Raleigh comes in and says, hey, dangles carrots and says we can offer at least as much or more to go to Raleigh, you've got to treat it like any other recruiting business, and you've got to match what's out there. It's a tough sell. So Chief Putney really, and you said it right, Jeff, he's put himself out there lately, and this is relatively new in the big picture, right? And he's been out there maybe more than other chiefs have. I know the perception within the department, I saw some stuff posted on Facebook where retired officers said, I've been an officer for many years, and I've never seen a chief quite out there advocating for us as much as he is right now. He grew up in the police department here, professionally grew up, started many years ago, and so he is a cop's cop. And he's out there advocating for his people. And I guess we shouldn't be surprised by that. Again, we're back to that asking season, right?
Right.
That wonderful time when everybody's saying, we want this. But he's pushing it hard.
And they've made a big social media push, too. Putting out where they're going to be recruiting and recruiting events, period.
Yeah, so I would be astounded if City Council doesn't come up with something.
Yeah.
But there are a lot
Not
of
the
asks
double-digit
out
percentage,
there.
right? That
Right. No, I think
The FOP wants what, 15%?
yeah, that's what they're talking about. It's and they showed up at City Hall and so forth. It's a negotiation.
yeah.
Well, I mean, we saw the video this week of the ambush on the police officers at police headquarters,
right.
where a murder suspect was killed by an officer, but not before that suspect shot an officer. So the job is dangerous, whether it's in Raleigh or Charlotte or any other city, I suppose. So financially, I guess, if you know you're going into a dangerous profession, why not look for the best possible salary, the best possible package of, of benefits and all that sort of thing. So it does become a little bit of an economic discussion, I suppose, for the chief.
At the end of the day, sure. I mean,
But, we also have the lingering aftermath, I suppose, of 2016 and the protests and the police shooting and the scrutiny that the entire police department has been under since then. And we did a story last year about police, the first recruit class that came through after the protests and the shooting. And even then, the chief was talking about not having as many recruits as they used to have, saying that the recruits they were getting were really dedicated, because to sign up for that job after everything they'd seen that's a different kind of person. But that doesn't change the numbers game that they're in right now in terms of filling available vacancies and keeping cops on the street.
Listen, you think, and I believe it's like mission work, right? You get somebody who gets into that because they believe in what they're doing, not because it's the way to get rich. There are businesses and jobs, God bless people who go into those businesses and want to make as much money as they can. It's America. But to be a police officer, you got to believe in what you're doing. And so you are correct in that you are finding people maybe finding a little tougher to believe in the mission when they've seen situations where police have gone too far. And, do I want to be on that team? Do I still believe? And particularly young African-American officers. I've asked, at those recruit graduations, hey, tough time to be a cop.
Right.
And, in this community. So all of that means, yes, you got to dangle a lot of carrots out there.
Well,
not just
and the
financial.
chief, to that end, I think has had the events of officer-involved shootings over the last year. I mean, there have been several very public ones, with also asking for this increase in the Congress. It is a balancing act, and thank you, that's the word I was looking for, where he's got these officer-involved shootings that are they're coming out on video. The court is allowing them to be released, the body cam videos, and then you have the aftermath of 2016 and what that's done to the community and perception of police. Yet and still, he is trying his very hardest. That's why I feel we see him getting out there more and more, so that he is the one getting that message out there, and people aren't left to make up their minds on their own or go off of rumor or something like that.
He seems to be warming up to the idea of being the icon or the symbol of the department, maybe taking some of the pressure off the line officers and some of these controversial issues, and maybe building morale in the process. I mean, it's always, the morale has got to improve regardless of what the community thinks when you've got someone that you feel is going to bat for you on some of these key issues. And
I've heard him use the phrase several times, our heroes. These are heroes. Our heroes went toward the gunfire when everybody else is going away. And he believes that, I believe. I mean, he really believes that officers, and there have been some bad ones, and he's called them out. But for the most part, he believes those folks who sign up and wear that blue uniform are heroes, and so he's going to bat for them.
Well, and I mean, if you look at that video that was released this week, if you look at the quick response time, right, there's someone shooting at them, and their immediate response, there's 3 seconds between the time that Mr. Bennett fired the shots and the time that he was on the ground dead. I mean, that is incredible. Incredible.
But
and
even
brave.
in that video, Nick, you saw like instant human reaction to gunfire.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter that they're a police officer. They winced,
Yeah,
their backs were turned.
They're
So it
human
was-
too. I mean, regardless of carrying a gun and wearing a badge, you can't help but react, when your life
as like a human.
is in danger. Yeah.
And that, I think, I really wanted people to see, just because they're police officers, they react the same exact way that you would if they're being fired at.
They wince, but then they win at it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, for like half a second. And
I'm wincing, I'm going the other way.
Yeah. They winced and drew their guns and ran towards the guy. I thought it was incredible, which is why we thought it was important for the public to see the video. But I think that's a very good illustration of just how brave these men and women are.
Yeah. Well, in 2016, one of the issues that also came up is low-income housing. The mayor talking about that as well this week. It was a big campaign issue, and now she's asking for $50 million in the low-income housing fund for the city. Typically, that fund is about $15 million. She seems to think that having more money will allow the city not just to spend more, but to spend it in different ways. Right now, the city can only use that money for construction of low income. She wants to start helping people who live in rental units and that sort of thing pay the rent, for example. It's a new door. It's an expensive new door to go through, but is it the kind of thing that will address the problem? that the community's been talking about for the last couple of years? Any takers on
it
this?
would be first nice to see who these people from the community are that are going to donate the other 100 million that she requested.
Yeah, but the 50 million first is coming out of our pockets,
Right,
and I
yeah.
saw Katie. I know you've done reporting on the private sector and what they have and haven't done when it comes to low-income housing. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I mean, everywhere around Charlotte, when you talk about apartment construction and things like that, it's these big beige boxes that are typically in the luxury category. I mean,
Right.
$1,000 per month and up. On the other side, there are apartment developers, and I'm just talking from the business perspective here, but it is really lucrative too if you're a developer to go in and kind of revamp some of the older units around town that maybe might not be as prominent, like on Stonewall Street or whatever. So people who had been paying $300 a month, they go in and redo the tiles and do a nice paint job and things like that, tweaks that are probably you spend a couple $1,000s per unit and then double the rent or something like that.
And those are the complaints that City Council heard during a public hearing this week,
Yeah.
which maybe or maybe not led to what the mayor had to say about finding the money to help those people as well as the builders who are trying to provide new low-income housing to begin with.
Right. It's about adding new affordable housing units and maintaining current units that are considered affordable. So I think that's really important because I think that was kind of a trend that had gone overlooked. I know Eli, my coworker, wrote about that a few months back, and it's sort of like, oh yeah, I did notice that one particular building has gotten a facelift. Of course that means higher rent for the
Right,
people
yeah.
who are in there. A lot of the time fixed income folks hadn't signed up for that kind of increase. So I think, not to use a cliche, but these are baby steps, and it's a step in the right direction.
Well,
so.
we're going to have to let that be the last word, folks. We're out of time. As usual, we run out of time before we run out of topics. We need a longer show. Anyway, thanks for joining us this week around the table. Thank you for joining us at home, and we'll see you next time on Off the Record.
A production of PBS Charlotte.